So now the Detroit Lions we've heard what Brad Holmes had to say about Jared Goff. We've heard what Coach Campbell had to say about Jared Goff. That's our QB quote. But people insist that the Detroit Lions take a quarterback. Now, I got to give a shout out to my guy, the Dern, who is probably busy at work, so he's not in here right now, that he is okay if the Detroit Lions take a quarterback at number 18. That is our pick. We have number 6. We have number 18. Now, we already talked about yesterday, USA Today has us taking Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon, with our pick, and has us taking Brian Bresee, defensive tackle from Clemson, with the Rams pick. But I saw today, right before I got on, that there is a draft expert who has us taking a quarterback with the 18th pick. Okay? Now, we discussed yesterday that Anthony Richardson is going to go, according to USA Today, 2 picks before we pick. So he's going to go at number 16, according to the USA Today mock draft, right? But this draft expert, I don't remember his name, okay, has us taking a quarterback. I think y'all going to like this one. With the 6th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky. He has us taking Will Levis. And I understand that people want to have somebody sitting behind Jared Goff, and that's why I brought up the Dern. Dern is okay with us taking a quarterback at pick 18. And I said yesterday that I trust Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, that they have at least earned my trust. I did not, however, that does not mean that I might begin to kind of feel some type of way, right? Because I'm going to be worried about the defense. So I think that after, you might not see the Jameson Williams reaction, but I might be like, okay, Brad, what you doing, man? What you doing? I'm trying to see what you're doing, right? So Dern's thought, and I'm not, trying to rag on Dern, that's my homie. Dern's thought was having somebody to mold behind Jared Goff, and I'm big on that. That's one thing that we never did with Matthew Stafford. We never did that with Stafford, and it drove me crazy. We had Sean Hill, we had Orlowski, we had Orlowski again. We then came around and got Chase Daniel, and then Orlowski. My point is, we never had anybody to groom, right? And that's been my biggest thing. Every time a quarterback comes in, looking at Jared Goff last year, right? Jared Goff was almost like that quarterback that we didn't groom. He came from L.A. right into the situation that we put all our other rookie quarterbacks into. There's no team around him. So they have us drafting, he has us drafting Will Levis from Kentucky with number 6. Now, if we took a quarterback at 18, if that guy was there, we talked about it yesterday, and my issue with this is I would have to trust that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell will find a guy and that will be okay with sitting behind Jared Goff for a number of years. Remember that Jared Goff's contract is for 2023, 2024. After that, then we going to have to renegotiate. He would be a free agent if we don't lock him up before that. Do you want a potential what's happening behind Green Bay with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers to happen in the D, right? That would be a cause for concern for me. So if I'm going to draft a quarterback, my intention would be year 3 he's going to start, right? That is whenever I drafted a quarterback, it would not be to put this guy on the shelf and just let the starter run amok. It would be to challenge the starter, and it would also be, you know what? In year 3, this is going to happen. Now, there is a way that I see Brad Holmes do this, okay? Deary says we need a quarterback regardless. If Goff gets hurt, we're done. That's facts. That is a fact. But at the same time, here's my thought, right? Here's why I could see the Detroit Lions doing this. Now, if they do this, I don't care what they do, right? And I mean this. I don't care what they do. The defense better be elevated. So whether it's in free agency or a little bit in free agency, and a little bit in the draft, we better elevate our defense. Our defense was elevated in the second half of the season. All right, but we need some game-changing playmakers. We don't just need game changers. We don't just need playmakers. We need some game-changing playmakers, right? We need that. So if we take a quarterback in the first round, whether it's 6 or 18, our defense has to make a stride. That's regardless, right? That's regardless of where we take these guys. But it's more likely that we'll get that game-changing playmaker in the first round than the later rounds, right? And when I say later, we don't have a 4th-round pick. So unless you get a Kirby Joseph or a hidden gem like James Houston or Malcolm Rodriguez, isn't that ironic they were both taken in the same round? That's crazy. Then the Detroit Lions, it would be weird for them to take a quarterback. Now, here's my thing. Here is the way I could see Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell taking a quarterback. Jared Goff is the subject of everybody's conversation. And I think it's trending more good than bad. Last year was like, I've heard so many news articles. I've read so many news articles, TV shows, YouTube videos where people already were dumping. They thought that when Jared Goff was part of the trade, there was no way by year 3 he was going to be on this team. Our first reasonable out comes this season when the new league year starts. And there was no way that he was going to remain on this team. Now those people are changing their tune. The Jim Rose, what's my man, Colin Cowherd. They're changing their tune. So why did I bring that up? If Jared Goff continues to ball, and I don't think that he's even reached his prime yet, it will depend, of course, on the offensive coordinator, the scheme, and all of that stuff. If Jared Goff continues the ball, he will want some money coming in 2025, when that 2025 season, right? Because he's on the books for 2023, 2024. So that 2025 season, he's going to want some money. And I'm hearing that Geno Smith could get $30 million, right? So if Jared Goff can end top 10, top 5, and play that way for the next couple of years, he's going to want a bag. And the thing about it is, if the Detroit Lions take a quarterback, in my honest opinion, it's not really to back up Jared Goff. It's to replace him in 2024 when we go into that 2025 season. That is the way. That would give the backup quarterback the knowledge that for 2 seasons you are going to sit. You might see some preseason work. You'll come in if the quarterback gets hurt. But your job is to take over for JG in 2025. That is the way that I could see the Detroit Lions spending a 1st-round pick on a quarterback with the intention to replace Jared Goff at the end of his contract. That will give 2 years, and that's all I want. I want a quarterback that has time to adjust to the game. So if that does happen, that is what I believe is going to be the point behind drafting a quarterback. You're going to commit to Jared Goff for 2 years. He's on the books for 2 years. The only way he leaves is if the Detroit Lions want him to. So Jared Goff is not in control of this situation. The Detroit Lions are. However, if we draft a quarterback in the 1st round, I could see it potentially to replace Jared Goff when his contract is over, but not before. Let me know what you think down below.